always been a doer. I want to be productive. I needed to be doing things to feel accomplished. And in fact, when I wasn't doing stuff and I wasn't productive, I felt really bad and guilty. It was like it dug into me. So I was telling my friend Christy yesterday, it's almost like that being a doer has been a detriment to me a lot. So I've always had great ideas, right? But the problem with this is that I would think them through only enough to get them going. So I'd put them into play. I would put them into play immediately, and I would build websites for them. I would just go with it. But then come to find out, it's at the end of it, it's not really what I wanted. And I did this so many times in my life, guys. For over 8 years, I did this. Just thinking I had the right idea, going all in because I'm a doer. I'm going to get it done. And then in the end, I wasn't happy. So in particular, I just want to give you some instances. Now he's got a bone. Oh, God. This is classic. I love it. My personal training. I first started out in the fitness industry, and I started personal training people. So I would meet them up at a gym. I would give them workout programs, nutrition programs, and you know, I was really all in because I wanted them to be successful. But what happened is I kind of started wanting their success more than they did. It was more of a mindset thing. They were hiring me to be a personal trainer because their mindset wasn't there. And it wore me down. And it got to the point where I was like, they're not ready for this. I'm not ready for that. So I did it for a few years. I still kept my personal training license, but I'm not doing it anymore. It was very, very, it was hard. It was emotionally draining. I also went into a business where I sold products, great products, love the products, use the products, but I always knew in the back of my mind that I wanted to create my own product. I wanted to put out my own thing out there the way I wanted to put it out. And I know that by selling other people's products, I couldn't do that. So in the end, again, I put all this effort into building this business based on products and personal training, and it wasn't the right thing. And the last thing, I did a magazine. I did an online magazine, and it was actually a very successful online magazine. I did it for an entire year. I had over 10,000 followers in 8 different countries. But I quit because the only way for me to continue to make money was to sell advertising. And that's not what I wanted to do. So I wanted to bring people together, but I didn't want to sell advertising. So I dropped the magazine, you guys. 10,000 people reading that magazine, and I dropped it because it wasn't what I wanted. So everything I do just I think he dropped his bone. Maybe he's done with it. Kind of seemed to be like 100% all or nothing. And when I was in it, I was in it. And even when I was with my family, I was in it. So I remember my husband saying one time, I was out there, we were all eating, I was on my phone, he's like, Erica, you need to either be working or you need to be with the family. So go in your office and work or be with the family. Remember times looking at my kids when I was hearing them, but I wasn't really understanding what they were saying, because even though I was looking at them, have you ever done this before? You're in a conversation with somebody, but then you kind of go off into left field and you start wondering, and I was thinking about work. So I was doing all this external stuff to try to make things right, to try to live my passion, to try to do what I love, to try to make money for my family, and nothing felt right. But don't get me wrong, like I was still doing personal development. So it wasn't like all this external stuff. I was still working on me. So I was doing personal development. I was implementing personal development. I was taking courses, really expensive courses. I was going to conferences, really expensive conferences, but nothing was changing me in a way that I felt was fulfilling. And I was stuck. I would say, and I would have these high points where I get all my ideas, I'm putting my to-do list together, it gets overwhelming, and I get stuck, right? I was stagnant, plateaued. And then something amazing happened. I'm gonna keep an eye on time here too, because I don't wanna waste all your time, but this is worth it. This is worth it, I promise. I'm going somewhere. Stick with me, yo. When I was in yoga training at YogaPod, I was introduced to Yin Yoga. And I did my first class, and it was the hardest freaking thing I've ever had to do. I had to be still? Like what? Like, I'm used to going hardcore in my workouts. You're telling me to be still now. I had to only focus on one thing, my breath, or meditate? What? In my body, I'm so confused. Like, and it hurt. And this is not about yin yoga, guys. All right? This is not about yin yoga. That's one little concept of yin. But I'm telling you now, that hurt, and I was hooked, because that is exactly what my body kept thirsting. I was so go, 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 that I knew after that one time of yin, that's what I needed. So from that day on, I incorporated stillness into my life. I vibrated at a higher frequency because of it, and I consistently worked hard on doing nothing every single day, and nothing seemed too bad to where I couldn't handle it. I felt like I could handle anything that came along. And then something happened, and it slapped me in the face. It was the election. It was the recent election. I'm not going to get political here, and I'm not going to talk about one side or the other, but hear me out. And in fact, it was after the election, and it wasn't the outcome of the election. It was the way people reacted to the outcome of the election. Hate, blame, both sides. It was ugly. People were so hateful. I mean, I can go into details, but there was name callings from both sides. It's almost like if you didn't believe how somebody else believed, you were a bad person. And I just couldn't believe all the people judging each other. The closure to the reality of what was really happening was mind-boggling to me. People not being able to accept what was really happening was mind-boggling to me. And it still is to a point. So I don't want to go into too many details, but I saw it from both sides on social media, on the news, everything. And I was so distraught about how people were acting that I chose, let me tell you this, I got physically sick. I got physically sick at people's reactions. And it's my fault, let me tell you, because first of all, it's my ignorance. I live inside a bubbly unicorn and rainbow world. And I thought that everybody was accepting, right? I didn't think everybody was, but I thought, surely no matter what the outcome is, we're good people, we're Americans, we understand each other, but that was not the case. So that was my ignorance, and it threw me on the floor. And from that ignorance, I created this expectation that everybody was going to be understanding and everybody was going to be kumbaya, and they weren't. And from that, I had an aversion. I had an aversion to people. I had an aversion to media. I had an aversion to politics. So I went inside. I shut everything off. I shut my friends off. I shut my social media off. I shut the news off. I went in deep, guys. And I mean, I went inside. I lived in stillness. I did not pick up that phone. I didn't even work. Like, okay, think about a modern day man going into a cave. That's what I did. And I had to understand why I let other reactions bother me so much. I'm getting somewhere. Hang with me. Why I let other people's reactions bother me so much. And I wanted to know how I could help other people to see the world as it is and not how they believe it should be. But what really happened is when I got quiet, when I found more yin in my life, more stillness, I stopped trying so hard. All right. So all of that I just talked about was the opposite of yin. So I went into the opposite of yang, which is what I was just talking about, yin and yang. So I stopped trying to answer the questions. I stopped trying so hard. And because essentially me trying to answer those questions, if you think about it, was me doing the exact same thing they were doing. I don't know. I don't want to get into that. But so I had to really identify that ignorance, the attachment, and the aversion through stillness, and then let it go. And that's one thing that we talk about in the retreat, is identifying that, identifying distractions. So when I went into my cave, I turned off all social media. I turned off everything. And oddly enough, the election ended up being the catalyst in directing me to help others to slow down. It really was. After I came out of my cave, I realized what I needed to do. I didn't have the distractions being in that yin state. I didn't have the distractions of the news, of other people's opinions, of social media. I was able to take ownership of the way I felt. And I want to help other people do that. So I had clarity, and I knew exactly where it is I'm supposed to be and where it is I need to go to best serve other people. That's huge, you guys. So with that stillness, with adding that yin into my super yang life, that super go-go life that I had, that I hear some people praising themselves on. How you doing today? Oh, just busy. That's not a life. That's not how you're doing. When did busy become a lifestyle? When I took that down and stopped trying so hard and did the opposite of go-go, I was just being. I found clarity in my purpose. My confidence increased, you guys. I was able to, since I knew where I was going and I knew where I needed to be, I was able to set priorities. I was able to set a schedule. I was able to organize within that schedule. I was able to crank out work and still have a ton of time left. That clarity helped me create my purpose. That slowing down helped me create my purpose. I gained perspective of the world around me and how it really is. So here's what yin is not. All right, you ready for this? First of all, yin is not only yoga. When I talk about yin, I do not mean just yoga. Although it started for me with a yin yoga class, yin is simply the opposite of doing. It's being. It's the opposite of chaos. It's the opposite of distractions. It's just being. That's freaking hard, y'all. My Texas is coming out. That's hard to do. Just being is one of the hardest things that we have to do. And why is that? It's because of the distractions. It's because of the distractions. And it's one thing to identify those distractions, but something else that we do in the retreat is we work almost an entire week on our distractions and figuring out ways to not just deal with them once they happen, but also stop them from happening. That's huge. Okay, yin is not running. Runners, you're in a yin mode. You're using those muscles. Sometimes I can get it. Sometimes maybe your mind goes, I'm sorry, you're in yang mode when you're running. That's not yin. But I can understand how that rhythmic motion sometimes gets your head into a yin mode, but still it is a yang movement, all right? CrossFitters, not yin. Yoga tone, regular vinyasa yoga flow, not yin. So yin is just finding the stillness and the calmness to come inside, all right? Think of yang as masculine, and it's productivity. Yin is nurturing. Yin is the opposite. Yin is feminine. So that's when you see those yin-yang symbols, that's what it is. Yang is masculine, yin is feminine. And it all has to work together, just like a ball like this, just moving through space, time and space, right? And we're not in a constant balance, and we're not always over here, always on. It's always working towards that tranquility, all right? So I think of it as a seesaw. Yin, yang, tranquility. And we're always working towards it. We're always working towards it. So yin is not distractions. So does this give you a better idea of what yin is not? So I think that the fact that we're all here, either live or watching the rerun, shows that we have one thing in common. We want. We want things. Maybe we want more of something. Maybe we want less of something. But we want something. But until we slow down, find connection and clarity, we're not going to get what we want. But when we find that clarity, we're going to get what we want at such a faster pace. All right? It's going to be the difference between, okay, love bugs are bad right now. Hear me out. It's going to be a difference between backing out of your driveway in a swarm of love bugs, being attracted to your car and hitting your car. This is a very deathly thing I'm talking about. But it's what I think. Versus going 70 miles an hour down the highway and you hit a love bug swarm. Right? So that is going to be all your wants coming towards you at one time. 70 miles an hour, love bugs. Now your car is covered in your wants because you've manifested them through stillness. Why? Because you found out who you are. You connected with you and your oneness. I don't even like that word oneness. I don't know why I say it. I actually try to never say that. I don't like that word. Not for right now, at least. So, and what's the crazy thing is that once you find this, you're not going to be overwhelmed. For a long time, I feared success because I feared being overwhelmed, because I feared stress, because I know when I'm stressed, I'm not a good mom. I'm not the best mom. I'm not the best friend. I'm not the best spouse. And so I never wanted that. But now that I know my direction and success is coming to me, I can feel it. I'm helping people. I'm not scared of that overwhelming because I'm organized and I'm confident that I'm going in the right direction. So let's do this, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. And I have a really cool contest that we're going to do tomorrow. I'm going to give away some awesome stuff. So meet me here tomorrow at 1:30, and I'm going to give you the tools that you need to help you start slowing down with yin. All right. And I'm also going to help you implement them over 5 days, and a contest will be had. If you're not on my mailing list, you need to get onto that. It's just a Yinspiration newsletter, and you can find that at the top of the Facebook page, the sign up button. Click on that. But so basically I've got a bunch of great giveaways. I'm going to give away a free ticket to my next round of the retreat, which starts May 15th. And I have a list of resources that I'm giving everybody on my mailing list. But part of that contest, somebody is going to win 3 books, 3 physical books. I'm going to mail it to you from that. And please share with others, guys. Please share with others that are looking to slow down their life a little bit, you know, and just ask them. Before you send them this video or tag them in this video, say, can you take 20 minutes to slow down and see how you can speed up by slowing down? All right? Because that's really what it's all about. And this isn't something that just happened to come up all of a sudden. This is something that's been around forever. It's been around for centuries. It dates back 5,000 years. But I think today, more than ever, we need that. And I have to make that happen, you guys, because I don't want my kids living in this frantic, crazy survival world. I want them living in a world of creation, not survival. And until I can help people start to slow down and see and feel why that's so important, then I am not serving my children best, our children best. So until tomorrow at 1:30, I will see you around on Facebook. I'll be in and out. Post below if you have questions. Thank you so much for tuning in, whether you're watching the replay or you're live. Peace.